The podcast you are about to listen to is one of the many podcasts that is part of the College Huddle, the largest fan-led college sports podcast community on the internet. Fan-made, fan-driven, and fan-fueled. The College Huddle.
Whoa, he has trouble with the snap, and the ball is free!
Okay, next question.
I'm a horse football coach right now.
You know, it got shoved up, shoved it up. It got shoved, right?
On the banks of the Red Cedar, there's a school that's known to all. Their specialty is winning, but man, I wish they played a little better ball. Welcome to the Spartan Savants. After another Ohio State blowout, something that we have become a little accustomed to. It's your boy Nicky, joined today with the Spartan Savant Travis. Winston is out in Tallahassee fixing Florida State's problems as we speak. He'll be back next episode. But Travis, how's it going?
Man, we may have lost that game, but it's a great time to be a Detroit sports fan, finally. Tigers are in the playoffs. Lions are on Monday Night Football. Red Wings have only played 2 preseason games against the same team, but they're 2-0, outscored them 6-2. And, you know, the Pistons are still going to suck probably. But, hey, this is what we've been waiting for a long time.
That's right. Go Tigers, baby. I'll be honest, I have not watched any because I don't want to be the fair weather fan to jinx them on their run. So.
I was at a game at the end of July, and it seemed like everything was just doom and gloom. Sell the team, everything. Hey, we suck. Why is Javi Baez still in the lineup? Why does our president of operations still have a team or still have a job? Damn good turnaround. I'll tell you that.
Oh, yeah.
They are red hot.
And if they can do that, just think what the Spartans can do. That's coming to a theater near you. I will say, although it is cool that the Lions are on Monday Night Football, it's Sunday today, and I kind of wish they were playing.
Yeah. I don't like right now. My TV has the YouTube TV split screen with the Packers and the Vikings on one, and the Eagles and the Buccaneers on the other, and it's just not the same. It's not fun.
It's not the same.
Football. It's football. Football is football, but you know. Yeah,
very true. Very true. Well, this might be a quick one today. We're just going to go over the Ohio State game, good and bad, and probably go over the outlook of the future. So we'll get the bad out of the way. Honestly, there's not too much to say. I do think that as blowouts have gone, this is probably the best we've a blowout in the past 6 years, 6 or so years. So there's that. But Travis, do you want to start us off with some of the bad that we saw?
Yeah, I think we're on the same page there. There's not as much bad as you would think based on the score that we have. The score makes things look a lot worse than they were. The turnovers are very bad, very, very bad. And this time, like the first few games, it was Childs making some freshman, sophomore, early mistakes or whatever. He wasn't the only one doing it this week, though. I mean, no. Velling had that. I mean, we'll get a little more into this, but Velling had that key fumble. Malik Spencer dropped an interception that could have helped out a lot. I mean, it's all across the board. And another bad thing, which isn't really that bad, it was clear they're the more talented team than us by far. Like they had bench guys coming in that probably would be starters on our team. And I think eventually we're going to get to a point where that's not necessarily the case, but it was very obvious, especially in that second half.
Yeah, I agree. One nice thing is I think this is the first time in at least 3 years that the starters were not in at the beginning of the second half, or the starters were in at the beginning of the second half. Ohio State. So that goes to show we were actually competing. We just got, let's just get the elephant out of the room. We got no breaks. Like the mid face mask, that thing was just
that was horrible.
Like you can say Childs needs to have better control of the ball regardless, sure, but man, like when you're like looking at your name on the jersey because your head's 180 degrees, you might be more focused on not dying than like
holding onto the ball. Yeah.
Like that would have changed a lot. Who knows if we would have scored? We could have gotten another turnover right away after that. That tends to happen sometimes. But man, like that really just hurts. One thing that I do want to say, a lot of people said they liked going for it on that first drive. I kind of wish we got the points because right now, like it would have been if we got that field goal. We have a great field goal kicker in Jonathan Kim. We got to use him. Even the playing field 3-3, because just keeping it a one possession game, even if they do get a touchdown after that, because I think that keeps the offense with confidence and just kind of keeps the game going. When you're not going to out physical that team, I get where they're coming from with getting to like you're not going to beat them kicking field goals, but you're not going to beat them not converting on fourth downs.
I see your point, but also maybe it's the Dan Campbell effect here. But I like the aggressiveness. I mean, it was fourth and less than a yard. You got to be able to pick that up. And what he said, what Coach Smith said when he was talking to the Peacock NBC reporters on the sideline after that was spot on. You're not going to win that game kicking field goals, no matter how good Jonathan Kim is. We probably weren't going to win the game regardless. I mean, obviously we didn't win the game, but I get your argument at that spot in the game, but at the same time, I want to go for the jugular.
That's fair. I just my thing is that's a vibes play. And again, yeah, like you make that vibes are great, but you make that, you can't make a less than a yard on fourth. That's kind of thinking makes the team think, man, I guess we're just not as good as them. Like we're not going to be able to beat them. And while they did keep playing hard, just man, I feel like whatever. That's just one of those plays that I wish they would have gone. They would have gotten the points. Doesn't really make the end of the world there, but there's that fumble, that Jack Velling fumble too, right after. Thank God we got another turnover to make that because that was a great throw to Jerron Glover, I must say. For that, after. But man,
he made some really good. But another really bad thing was that interception Childs threw in the second half, where it was like between Velling and Foster. Yeah. I like the way they showed it on the field before the replay made it look like Foster wasn't even there, so it looked like he was throwing just straight to the defender. So I'm just like, what the hell is he seeing? Obviously, he was trying to fit it into one of those guys, but it went right between them. And you got to be a little more decisive there, I guess would be the right way.
Yeah. Yeah, the one thing, too, I think Michigan State the past few years and in this game, we've had a snowballing problem. Obviously, like pretty much every bad break happened. But going into that second half, like I think at a 3-and-out, if not a 3-and-out, we didn't score after that. And then it just seemed Ohio State had that huge play and just snowball. We kind of gave up. And obviously the fourth quarter, the game was over. Like that was in. So, I mean, Ohio State's one of those teams too, where they love to rack up the snowballs. Like you've got to pretty much play perfect.
They're building a snowman. Yeah.
Yeah. They're snowmen. They're snowman builders. They're elves. Like they know how to just you give them an inch, they take a mile, and we gave them a lot of inches. Man, that fumble recovery that ended up being down. I know that's the right call, but come on, like that sucked. The fifth down for Ohio State.
Bullshit. That was bullshit. Yeah.
If they scored, they would have not taken that off either. Like that would have.
Yeah. That's the thing. That technically, I guess it was the right call, but if it had not been the type of play that it was, and it had been a positive play for Ohio State, they would not have made the right call. And me, Winston, we're all talking. We could do an entire episode on the shit show that the refs have been this year, especially in that game. But we'll hold it back for now. It's definitely going to get worse, but
yeah, the defense was outmatched, but I really think they held their own pretty well. I guess we can go into some of the good now. We played hard. Like the first half, while it was 24-7, it was it was a bunch of bad breaks where if the breaks went even like average, it could have been a one possession game easily.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you look at the. I mean, I have a list of a bunch of wins just throughout the game. I mean, they got to our 12-yard line on their first possession. We held them to a field goal. At this point in our program, that's a huge win. We respond and go back to their 20-yard line and have that 4th and less than 1. Another huge win for the sad state that our program has been in. And then even after they score on that, we should have had an interception on that. Bam, there's another play going our way. And then we go down. Velling, I think, was tackled inside the 10-yard line when he fumbled that ball. Otherwise, we were going in to make that a 10-7 game, which honestly probably should have been even closer than that, given the way things started. And then it just so I mean, we had our opportunities to cut into it. We had our opportunities to take the lead, and then it kind of just spiraled from there. I mean, they scored. We had the defensive touchdown, or you know what I mean, the interception that set up the Childs touchdown. And then they score a touchdown. We're driving again. Childs fumbles. They don't call the face mask. We were going into making a one possession game again during that point, and instead Ohio State gets the ball, marches right back down the field. Suddenly it's 24-7. It's not great. And then we coming out of halftime, we had to do something, and we ended up just gaining 6 yards on that first drive. Ohio State goes scores. We throw another interception. They score. Game over. I mean, the opportunities were there in the first half, even though this final score doesn't show it. And for the past few years, I don't even know how many it is now, we've looked like we didn't even belong on the same field as them. Like, the game was over at halftime, over at the end of the first quarter. And this time, we looked like we were the lesser team still, but we didn't look like we were playing a completely different sport.
I was invested at the beginning of the second half. That says a lot.
Yeah.
Like,
we still had the game on at halftime, and that's where we are right now.
Yeah, and that's, you know what? I'll take that. And the good news is there's a couple good things. One thing I got to say, Jeremiah Smith shouldn't just not be allowed to play college football after this year.
Oh my God.
He should be allowed to get drafted. He is so good. What the hell?
Have you seen the Ryan Williams for Alabama too?
Yeah, like
those two would be receiver 1 and receiver 2 in this year's class as freshmen. I mean, the Lions kind of need a receiver, so I'm going to start a petition to send them both to the NFL. Like, I'd take either one right now. But
yeah, great news though for us is that if we lose to Ohio State before 2027, that means we'll have either lost in the Big Ten championship or the playoffs. So that's
always looking on the bright side.
That's really nice for us. So we don't have to play Jeremiah Smith again until he graduates. So that's huge. But like,
he'll be gone by then. Yeah.
What I'm saying, like, he'll
no. I'm saying, but he would have the option to still be there, but he'll be gone. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah. If he's still there, he's just an asshole.
Like, or he's just getting a shitload of NIL money.
Yeah. But so that's great news right there for us that we don't have to deal with them for a while. But I guess really this is the best team we're going to play. In Oregon, we're going to get into them next week, obviously. That's not looking good for us. Quick turnaround at Oregon. But after the bye week, if we can clean some things up, there is a path to a bowl game and maybe even 7 wins. Like,
oh yeah.
One crazy thing too is that pretty much, because it sounds like Rutgers and Indiana are going to be ranked. So if that's the case, every team we have will have been ranked at one point going forward. Which
that's nuts. Well, not
really
Purdue, not like, Purdue, but
you're right, except for Purdue. But that hurts.
Talk about a tough schedule. Jesus.
Like, after the bye, I still think Iowa and Michigan are hard games, but I don't think they're any harder than like the next 6 after. Like,
no. And to your point, Indiana and Rutgers were teams that we did not like. We knew Rutgers was going to be better. We knew Indiana might be better with the new coach. We didn't think either of those teams was going to be borderline ranked when we play them. Possibly by the time those games roll around, solidly ranked.
Yeah. Rutgers' schedule is also absurd. They don't play Oregon, Michigan, Penn State, or Ohio State. Like, if they're not ranked, then we're beating.
They get the middle of the Big Ten at best. But then again, you would have to pay a lot of those teams a lot of money to go to Piscataway, New Jersey. Well, let me tell you.
That's fair. Very fair. But like, Iowa, like if we can, so one good thing that I think is great is the last 2 games we have cleaned up the penalties a good amount. If we can do that with the turnovers, if we can average just 2 turnovers a game, just in general, not just Trials, not other guys, just in general. If Trials can limit it to 1 turnover and then we'll have another team turnover, we can win 3 games because Iowa, Michigan offenses are not very good. And our run defense, even against Ohio State, who they have 2 of the best running backs in the league, like they'll both be in the NFL next year. Besides their explosive runs, which they are going to get, being that kind of players, we held them to I think like 3 yards per carry. If you don't count those explosive runs, which obviously you do need to count them, but our run defense has some sacks on them. They can play.
Yeah, and what you kind of alluded to it on there. I don't think the casual college football fan understands how good those 2 running backs we faced last night were. Like they may have run for a bunch of yardage, but that's possibly the best tandem in college football. And to hold them to that, to do what you just said with just somewhat limiting the big plays was pretty good to see. And I don't think that there's a game on our schedule left other than the Oregon game that isn't winnable.
Agree. I think this team is very battle tested, one of the most battle tested teams in the country, honestly, you could say, after the bye. And one other thing, this is a completely random thought, but I think I saw this on a tweet. I didn't see it on TV, but apparently after I think the missed face mask, Jonathan Smith went in on it on the refs.
Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah,
I think the Breslin Center water might be getting into his bloodstream. He was pulling an Izzo there. I kind of hopes he'd get a tech. Like a Jonathan Smith tech, that would just be instant. He is the one. He will
what is the equivalent of a tech on the football coach?
I guess like getting taught. Like I'm just saying, getting taught.
Sideline warning, or the Sonny Dykes full on tossed out of the game. Did you see that?
Know.
That what Sonny Dykes in the Iron Skillet game last week got thrown out.
Oh, that's so awesome! If Jonathan Smith got thrown out, I would have been 1,000,000% more in on him.
It's even funnier. It's even funnier because Dykes was the former head coach at SMU, and now he's the coach at TCU, and the game was at SMU, and everybody was just shitting on him, and he was like egging the crowd on while he was leaving. It was really funny.
That's really funny.
I can honestly say I've never seen a coach thrown out, especially like that, a college football game. I'm sure it's happened, but I've never seen it like that.
Yeah, that's fair. But I guess for the future, for like the rest of the season, really like our O-line is what it is. Like it's just not very good.
Yeah. One thing I'll say is when those second teamers were in, we were kind of questioning, with the guard injuries, Smith had kind of mentioned Dallas Fincher as a guy that was going to get some playing time. I saw him get absolutely manhandled on every snap against Ohio State. Yeah. And so that explains why he might not have been in there for some of these other games. Nothing against the dude. It's just like clearly we're at a disadvantage in some points. So it's good to be able to take some positives out of what we watched and actually have some kind of optimism here at the end of September.
Yeah.
It's the last couple Septembers, not great.
Yeah. Like Rakeem Johnson, true freshman playing. He's going to get some snaps.
That's huge. That's huge.
It's nice.
Yeah.
They're probably not going to play well, but those young guys getting snaps will help us next year. God, we got to retain some of these guys.
Yeah.
I think
Development gets lost in the shuffle these days, and so it's really good to have those guys on the field.
I think we can develop into a good team. We really just need, like, next year. It's crazy thinking about next year already, but like, I think if we can retain the majority of our guys and just get a bunch of O linemen and a running back, like a good running back.
We're gonna lose those top 2 running backs.
I think Nate Carter can come back. I think he has another year. He's a redshirt year because he had an injury.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
He is, because he has COVID year and injury redshirt.
I could swear what I saw was seniors on both of them, but still, we need another running back.
If Nate Carter comes back, he has to be running back too, significantly running back.
Yeah, that's true. We need, The one thing I did like about another thing I liked last night that I forgot to mention was when they put those freshman running backs in. Mekhi Frazier showed some burst on that last play where he got the. I don't know if you kept the game on long enough. They got the ball to him on the last play of the game, and he made a couple guys miss and picked up the first down. Fought his way through traffic. It was. I mean, obviously it was against the second teamers, but as a freshman against Ohio State, with basically your first legitimate touches, it was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So maybe one of those guys can emerge, but you got to have a deep room these days at every position.
I do think the wide receiver room too right now is kind of like getting its pecking order. I think it really is. I think it's John Glover and Nick Marsh, kind of 1 and 2 interchangeable.
Yeah.
And Corey Foster, he's the third option. Like, you can just tell that Charles is better chemistry with those other 2. And even A.Z. Johnson has some good catches.
Yeah, and it's obviously been affected by some injuries this year. Obviously, Glover and Marsh missing the BC game. Yeah, we haven't even mentioned Antonio Gates Jr. this time. He's been working with an ankle pretty much the entire season. So, and clearly that helped his pecking order.
Yeah, I basically consider Antonio Gates not on the team until he's healthy at this point. Like,
okay, I mean, yeah. I mean, he's obviously going to have a spot when he's healthy, but he's you made me forget where I was going with that.
I guess what I was kind of going for is if we have we really like, the main thing we need is for Aiden Childs to improve. With the way the O-line and run game are, I think we have the packing. If the receiver room stays healthy, I think Aiden will continue to improve just based on having the chemistry. Because I mean, last week he only had Montori Foster and Velling basically in AZ. So I think with these other guys, we will see improvement there, because he is going to have to be a playmaker the rest of the year. That is what it is to win games.
Yeah. Right now, receiver, there's talent there. It's one of those positions where we got to keep developing guys.
Yeah, that's kind of the name of the game right now, I guess.
Yeah.
The outlook, we just got to keep developing. I do see minor improvements each week. It's just tough because we're playing the 2 of the best teams in the country right now.
Yeah, they didn't do us any scheduling favors, that's for sure.
And then we're playing great defenses with okay offenses. Like, our defense has got to keep doing what they're doing. They're doing great.
The defense has been, like, last night was a little bit of a rough game, but not as rough as it could have, not as rough as it's been in the years past. And, just looking forward, you're already seeing strides in development from guys that have been here, even seniors like Chuck Brantley. So imagine what he can do when he gets recruits in here, when it just gets even more of his feet underneath him and everything. The sky's honestly the limit.
I agree. I think the coaching staff's done great so far. There are some people who are like complaining about the timeouts and clock management. Save me with the time management stuff. Like, we need to we are a normal bad team right now.
Yeah.
Maybe even average. Like, let's get decent before we worry about that kind of stuff. Like,
exactly. Clock management is like if there's a list of things that we need to accomplish, there's other stuff up here, and clock management is like 50 feet under a pile of shit.
When we're losing games because of clock management, we are in a great spot. Like,
yes,
I cannot wait until we are saying Jonathan Smith needs a guy to get the clock under control, because that means you got a lot of other shit that's gone right.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah. For that, I mean,
that's something that's a first world problem that good teams can worry about.
Yes, exactly. I think things are going in the right direction. Most people agree. That's just not that fun. Like, not that a fun thing to talk about. Just basically, we're sucking less progressively. So let's get through Oregon. Who knows? I mean, Jonathan Smith and Dayton Childs, this is kind of their Michigan game. So maybe we can pull something off great. Anything else you got to say, Travis?
I mean, I'm just glad that we have some positive shit to talk about at this point in the year. That's everything. I mean, as bad as it was, as bad as some things have been, we are no longer completely in the toilet.
Agree. We're no longer like a punching bag. We may be a punch line at times, but we're not a punching bag. So we'll be back Tuesday or Wednesday. We're playing Oregon on Friday. Besides that, that's Travis. Nicky's here. Pour one out for Willie. He'll be with us next time. Go Green.
Go White. Make sure check us out on YouTube, Spotify, Twitter, Instagram, and of course our collaborations with the College Huddle, the biggest collection of independently run college sports podcasts on the entire internet. We are the only Michigan State podcast as part of that group, so go check them out.
That's right. Go Green.
Go White.